he says, "Why are you so sad?" And they're like, "Don't you know? Don't you know? Like, the Messiah came. We thought he was the Messiah, this Jesus guy, and he cured the sick and the blind and the lame, and they killed him, and people are saying that he rose from the dead. Don't you know all the facts?" And this stranger says, "How foolish are you, and how slow to come to believe." And he comes to table with them, and Luke chapter 24, verse 30 says that when he was at table with them, he took the bread and blessed and broke it and gave it to them, and their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. And he vanished out of their sight. They said to each other, "Did not our hearts burn within us while he talked to us on the road, while he opened the scriptures?" And they rose that same hour immediately and returned to Jerusalem. So this story of Emmaus, I feel like that turning point for them. They knew all the facts, but it wasn't until Jesus opened the Word and broke the bread that they recognized that the joy of the Holy Spirit was living in them, and they were just choosing not to accept it. And so that summer, when I had come home, and I was just in despair, and I thought that I had really just, come down the ladder, and now I was going to have to climb back up. I was like the apostles, and it really was the Lord speaking to me again through his presence in adoration, through his presence in the Word, that I realized just so simply that our faith journey isn't like a ladder that we have to climb towards God, and if you mess up, you fall and you have to backtrack. That wasn't what happened. I was never at the bottom of any ladder by myself. Jesus was with me the whole time. He was walking on the road with me, but I didn't recognize him. And I knew all the facts. I knew all the things that there are to know about the faith. And I thought that I was in darkness. And I chose to live in this despair. That was really just false. It was false. Because there was joy that I just wasn't choosing to accept. And the good news is that wherever you are on your faith journey, you're not alone. Jesus is walking with you, whether you recognize him or not. And each one of us actually has the choice to decide to recognize him and to decide to recognize the joy or not to. We're walking on this road with him, and he's right here beside us. We can keep our eyes down on the ground. We can keep the sunglasses on and the hood over our eyes and just keep walking in the darkness. Or we can just look at him and gaze at his face and realize that he is here and wants a relationship with us. And he wants to give us this unending joy. I love that when the disciples realize this joy, they immediately turn around and run to Jerusalem. Right? As soon as they realize the joy, they immediately turn around and run 30 miles back to Jerusalem so that they can spread this gospel, so that they can spread this joy. And so my challenge to you is, do you know we know all the facts, right? You might not know everything about theology, but you're sitting here in this room, which means you know the gist of the Bible. You know that Jesus died and that he rose and that he loves you and he forgives you and that he calls you to a relationship with him. You know that in your head. But do you know it in your heart? If you do, run to Jerusalem and spread that love, spread that joy, spread that knowledge, because this world needs it. If you do know all the facts, but you don't have the joy, and it doesn't sink in, open your eyes and look. Look to Jesus and his word. Give him time. Give him actual time out of your day to look for him. Look to him. And see what you find. See if he's there. I won't tell you the answer. Just look.